The second wave of coronavirus has gripped the nation, with the number of new infections rising rapidly in recent days. Amid the looming crisis, the government has decided to shut schools, party palaces, and cinema halls in highly affected urban areas for the entire Nepalese month of Baishakh in a bid to control the crisis. However, it is uncertain if the step is enough to avoid grave times ahead. Good morning, I'm Abhiday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. The winter session of the parliament ends without discussing on a single bill. Opposition allege the government of attempting to avoid no confidence motion. The second wave of coronavirus grips the country with 1,227 new cases recorded yesterday. The government decides to shut all schools in highly affected urban areas. India's capital, Delhi, announces a week-long lockdown after a record spike in COVID-19 cases overwhelming the city's healthcare system. And Nepal to clash against the Netherlands in the Tri-Nation T20 series today. The match is scheduled to start at 1:15 this afternoon. The winter session of the House of Representatives, which was reinstated by the Supreme Court on 23rd of February, was prorogued yesterday after 6 weeks from the start of the session. During this period, the lower house had to bear the brunt of the ongoing tussle between Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and Speaker Agni Sapkota and failed to reach conclusion on a single bill. The winter session of the House of Representatives, which is also called the bill session, lasted for 44 days and merely held 9 meetings. The entire session was limited to formalities, as not even a single new bill was tabled during the 1.5-month period. On top of that, the ordinances to be passed by the first meeting were not even introduced after the main opposition Nepali Congress obstructed the meeting, inviting procedural complications. During this period, the conflict between Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and Speaker Agni Sapkota was displayed in several ways. Premier Oli had been criticizing Speaker Sapkota for holding the MCC bill, adding to the woes of the Constitutional Council bill that even reached the Supreme Court. In many public occasions, the executive head and the legislative head came down heavily at each other on their modus operandi. Prime Minister Oli, who was weakened politically and morally following the dissolution of the lower house, did not attend a single meeting during the entire session of the reinstated house. None of the top brass leaders addressed the session either. Instead, the opposition criticized the government, and the premier blamed the speaker for the ineffectiveness of the parliament. However, no one showed readiness to discuss and address the contemporary issues related to the public and the country as a whole. The second wave of coronavirus has gripped the country, as 1,227 new cases were registered yesterday, taking the total infection tally to 285,900. According to the Health Ministry, 7,001 samples were tested through the PCR method. 8 more deaths due to COVID-19 were reported yesterday, taking the COVID-19 death tally in the country to 3,091. The active caseload in the country stands at 7,254, while 81 individuals are in quarantine centers. According to the Health Ministry, the Kathmandu Valley alone recorded 634 cases, while 255 individuals had registered full recovery yesterday. The government has decided to close all schools until 14th of May in urban areas of districts most affected by COVID-19. The cabinet meeting held at the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwatar yesterday decided to shut all schools to opt for online classes instead. Last week, the Health Ministry had categorized 14 districts, including the 3 districts of the Kathmandu Valley, as the districts most affected by COVID-19. Likewise, the government decided to close night businesses, cinema halls, party palaces, gymnasiums, stadiums, among other crowded public places until 14th of May. Many schools across the country have continued with daily classes despite the rise in coronavirus cases in recent time. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Rukum West how have they been conducting the classes. Before we go for a short break, let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
फेरि पुनः चाहिँ अब विद्यालय सञ्चालन गर्ने सन्दर्भमा कसरी जाने भन्ने कुरामा अब अघिल्लो त्यो विद्यालय सञ्चालन सम्बन्धी कार्यविधि अनुसार अगाडि बढ्ने कि कसरी जाने भन्नेमा अलिकति अन्यलता आइरहेको छ।
हामी दिनको दिन मास्क किन्न पनि सक्दैनौँ कसैको घरमा समस्या हुन्छ पैसाहरू पनि दिनको दिन किन्दाखेरि धेरै पैसाहरू खर्च हुन्छन्
हामीले भौतिक दूरी त हामीले समाधान गर्न सकिरहेका छैनौँ तर मास्कको प्रयोग र हात धुने कुराहरूलाई चाहिँ लिएर हामीले पठन पाठन अगाडि लिएका छौँ
वैकल्पिक तरिकाले पढ्ने हो भने सबैसँग मोबाइल इन्टरनेटहरू हुँदैन
सुरक्षा मापदण्डहरू प्रयोग भएको पाइदैन
It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question. What should be the priority for the non-resident Nepalese Collective Investment Fund? Your options are A, production-oriented industry, B, agriculture, and C, infrastructure. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
Home team Nepal is all set to clash against the Netherlands in today's match under the Tri-Nation T20 series. The match is scheduled to start at 1:15 this afternoon at Kantipur's Tribhuvan University Cricket Ground. Nepal will be looking for their third consecutive win at the tournament, while the Netherlands will be aiming to register their second win. Nepal had defeated the Netherlands by 9 wickets on the inaugural match of the tournament on Saturday and took care of Malaysia by the same scoreline yesterday. Nepal is the only undefeated team in the tournament. The home team has exhibited strong performances in batting, bowling and fielding in its first 2 matches. Opening pair Kushal Bhurtel and Asif Sheikh posted a 116-run partnership in the match against the Netherlands and put on another century partnership yesterday against Malaysia by scoring 102 runs. Kushal Bhurtel has also set a national record for scoring 2 consecutive half-centuries in international T20 matches. Today's match will be played without the presence of spectators, as the cabinet meeting held yesterday has directed all sporting events to be held without the presence of crowds due to the recent surge in COVID-19 cases in the country. And it's time now for our special segment, Sports Buzz.
Armed Police Force lifted the 6th edition of Virat Gold Cup football title on Saturday, edging the visiting Punjab Police of India in a well-contested final. In the final, played at Shahid Rangasala ground, Biratnagar, Pradeep Lama's 11th minute strike proved decisive. APF pocketed a cash award of 1.5 million rupees along with the trophy. The runner-up Punjab Police had to settle for 750,000 rupees. This is APF's second Gold Cup victory this season, as they had also lifted Gol Bazaar Gold Cup held a month ago. The individual categories were also dominated by APF players, as APF's Ashish Lama was declared the most valuable player. Lama was awarded with a motorbike. Likewise, APF's Raju Nagarkoti walked away with the Best Custodian Award, Sanish Shrestha Best Defender, and Mani Lama was adjudged the Best Midfielder. The Best Coach Award also went to APF's Sumit Shrestha. Meanwhile, Sankata's foreign recruit, Fode Fofana, was declared the best forward of the tournament.
And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.